I'm going to start this recording. One moment, please. Yeah, out of the 5 modules that comprise the report pack, I'm going to show you the financials and sales analysis this morning due to your time constraints. So we're going to just jump right in here. This is the environment that you will see all of your reports hosted in. This is Microsoft's Azure Cloud environment. Your data doesn't sit here, but your reports will sit up here. And it will connect to your data directly, whether your data is on-premise or your data is hosted by a third-party service. All right, so let's just jump right into the financials here. Financials consist of, I don't know, there might be 27 reports here, as you can see. Start with the aging. Everybody knows the aging. This particular sample data here, we only have current agings for these customers. I can make this bigger and see if I have anybody has anything different. So we only have current. If we had multiple aging periods, there'd be multicolored bars here for each customer, showing each aging period that they have. Everything in these reports are interactive, so if I click on one particular customer, all of the other indicators will change accordingly. So everything's interactive. I can go and drill through and take a look at all of these receivables that's just owed by this customer, which happens to be only one invoice. So that gives me one place I can just monitor all of my receivables from here. And I can see the percentage of the overall aging periods relative to the entire aging. And I would see the bars here for the respective periods. Your data will show multicolored bars without a doubt. When we go into the monthly balance sheet and P&L account transactions, a lot of these reports feature these filters. So you can drill down and then drill through once you get to exactly the level that you're interested in. So let's see here. I can look at either the balance sheet or the P&L accounts if I want. I figure in this case I'll look at the balance sheet accounts. So as soon as I click balance sheet, the rest of these filters know what's relative to the balance sheet. It knows these are the account categories within the balance sheet. If I were to switch that over to P&L, again, the filters are smart enough to know that these are the P&L accounts and all of the sub-accounts to the P&L accounts. So rather than having to run reports for each different account within each posting type and the accounts within them, I can just switch them on the fly right here and see whatever I want to see. Well, when I'm going to look at this negative 58,000, I can drill right through to it and go examine the detail behind that 59. There it is right there. I can see it's not a whole lot there. I hit the back button. Come back. Let's look at a bigger number here. 8.5. Considerable. And there's that 8.5. And there's all of the detail for it. I can sort these columns any way I want just by clicking on the little black arrow down to the journal number. If you have any originating document number, it'll put that in there also. Balances in your series. We can go back and we can roll this up a little bit. Roll it all the way up to the category level. And we can roll back down to the series and even bring in the document status. You can see all of my work. You can see everything that's posted. Or I can see them both. Okay, moving on. We have additional month-end GL balance forwards and your net changes to your GL accounts. So I'm just going to use one for now. I'm going to look at the cash. Cash has quite a few sub-accounts to it. But in the cash category, I can see my beginning balance, beginning of the year, and then the net transactions, which will be rolled into the balance forwards. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 644, leaving me this September balance. I think you see what I'm getting at here. So I constantly know my account balances. And it'll do it for all accounts. 21 if I want. Pretty nice. And you have your account detail. This is the drill through. So we drilled through to this already. Now here we have some additional view of your balance sheet and P&L transactions. Let's see what we have selected here. We have sales selected, so naturally it knows that sales is a P&L account. So if I want to bring up the ability to have balance sheet, I get rid of that sales. And now I can analyze this another way. I can look at it by division, or we can look at it by territory if you have territory set up. We could look at it by salespeople. We could look at it by donor if you're a nonprofit and you have donors. So there's just any multitude of categorizations we could use here in order to look at the transaction detail. You notice each time I change a year here, all the other filters change because they know, they're smart, and they know what's applicable to what I'm asking for here. All right, let's move on. Here we're looking at a trend. This is the trend analysis, so I'd probably want to select multiple years here and see exactly how that particular, let's look at this division right here. And we'll look at the accounts receivable for this division. I can see that, let's select the open. Now I've got more years, so I can see how the account is trending. This one here happens to be trending in the wrong direction. But that's how that trending works. Just right on the fly, switch to a different account. Get your cost of goods, see the trending there. Or let's just look at all divisions. See how they're all trending. Let's look at the admin expenses. And I can see how my administrative expenses are trending with the key performance indicators on the side. So this module here is really GL intensive, as you probably can tell. And here's our forecasting here. Going to forecast only posted transactions across all divisions. So here we're looking at the administrative expenses across all divisions that have been posted in 2020 using all of these periods. That there will be August, September, October, all the way through to July. We're on an 8-1 fiscal year period here. So July would mark the end of the year. So August of the next year, it's forecasting $171,000. Just curious as to how that worked out. So I do have some 2021 data here. So let's look at that forecast once more. It's 171. See if I got close to it. No, we didn't get close to it. Again, that's sample data. So it's going to be susceptible to different, I like to call them different degrees of change. These are pretty significant changes here. They'll skew your forecast. Any forecast will be skewed by that. Okay, or we can just go at it another way here. And we can look at multiple years on the bottom here. And I can forecast out next year's accounts receivable. Nice, just a nice little tool to have. Depending on how non-skewed your data is, the more precise the forecast will be. And that applies to any forecasting algorithms anywhere in the world. It's just a function of the skewing of the data. And it'll also take into account seasonality. Okay, moving along. This is GL transaction imbalance report. Its sole purpose is to tell you if your GL's out of balance. Key performance indicators correspond to these grids. And the red would show you your imbalance. I generally select all account categories, all accounts, all periods, and all journal entries. These are all the ones that are available. And I can see here that everything's in balance. And these are marked posted, all of these transactions. So they did post to the GL. But if one of these transactions, for instance, this particular journal number, which is in the detail, didn't post to the general ledger, I would have an imbalance here. And I would see this account distribution, debits and credits and amounts in this red area here. And I would see the imbalance, total imbalance amount. Then I would simply just click on that particular journal entry that didn't post, and I could see exactly how to adjust it by account name, account number distribution, and the particular debit or credit to that account in order to bring that GL imbalance. That's the purpose of this report. Depending on how many transactions you process a day and how many times your GL is out of balance, if ever, this is what you need to fix it quickly. Otherwise, you spend hours, days, maybe a week, depending on the volume of transactions that didn't post. I mean, you figure that one journal entry right there affected a whole lot of accounts. So then you've got to hunt those accounts down, then go figure out how to debit or credit them. All on different days. All right, move on to control account changes. Just showing you how your control accounts are changing month to month, and the debits versus the credits, and whether the credits outweigh the debits over here. Cash, see my cash movement. You can see my debits are outweigh my credits. Again, you can look at that for history. See, it knows there's no history there. 2019, we have history. So now it's looking at the historic change from 2019. All right. Now let's just jump over to budgets and forecasts real quick here. So I know budgets are important to a lot of people. I have a budget here for 2020 for this division, CSS, and I'm going to look at these administrative expenses for all of the accounts in the administrative expense account. So I can see all of that, my budget versus my actuals, the percentages of the actual versus budget, and the variance. Positive means I'm over budget, negative means I'm under budget. I'm over 54% over budget. As shown in the bottom here, something happened here in March. It took me over budget, but it looks like I'm pretty much run over budget all the time. So I might want to reconsider that in my budgeting for next year. Let's look at the AR real quick while I'm in here. I have no actuals, no budget set up for AR. There's no budget set up for cash. So in other words, if you don't set the budget up, it won't show up. I find that more and more people are beginning to use budgets. Like the larger the company grows, the more they depend on budgets. So that will give you that information. And while I'm sitting here, depending on what I select, I'm going to select inventory here. the next report will remember my settings, so I don't have to reset it when I go to look at the detail for the inventory. While I'm over here, I can flip to another account category. Divisions here, if I get some. I can see them. I don't have a lot of budget set up for a lot of items. Select all of it. Yeah. So I guess the bottom line here is if you have budgets, then this is what you'll use. It'll key off of your budget IDs that you have set up. Okay. Again, we have another forecasting here, like we had forecasting for the balance sheet P&L transactions. Works the same way. One budget at a time. We'll give you your monthly. Let's just check something out here. Let's move July out. So there's June. It's telling me July should be about 32,000. We have July's figure. Let's take a look and see what happened. 32, it's about 2,100 off. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. If I were to select multiple budgets, I can look at the bottom grid, the bottom visual, and I can see how those years are going. There's no budget for that year, just actuals. Actuals only for that year. So unless you have some, some budget amounts in, you really can't do much with it. So get your budgets in there. We have bank receipts, check registers, bank reconciliation, cash in, cash out. What's coming in, what's going out, multiple years. We can look at any year or contrast any year that you want, and get your whether or not it's a decrease or increase, what series that particular transaction belonged to. The account distribution. This has affected the financial series here. You can see the increases or decreases, or I can just tell it to show me the increases only. Okay. And we have this report based on posting date, and we have the report also based on the transaction date. And you can look at any account that you want to look at. And let's show you your checkbook balance. Select them all if you want. There you go. So that's the general ledger, financials module in a nutshell at a pretty high level. I'm going to switch now to the sales analysis module. And please keep in mind, if you have any questions, just key them in the question box or the chat box, and I'll get right on them as soon as I'm done with this presentation. Okay, so here's our sales analysis module. This is running off the SOP module. We also have sales analysis if you're just doing your sales through the receivables management system. And here we have the example of the multicolored bars I mentioned earlier. This data is a little more relevant. In fact, this data happens to belong to my wife's company, so it's used with her permission. So we know how the AR works. We've added some additional filters over here, which we can also add to the financials AR if we choose to. We can filter this data any way we want. And if you have third-party integration, like Bullhorn, Payroll, or anything like that, then that product can also data can be integrated into here, because these third-party integrations generally only pull over the totals or job numbers, if you will, and the details always reside in that third-party product. So in order to get the detail, we have to go to that third-party product that you have installed. Just a little more work, because the data is not in GP. But as long as the data is in GP, it will be here. It will be here exactly, precisely to the penny. So again, there's our aging. We know what that looks like. If I drill through, I would see multiple aging periods here. Oops, mouse isn't working right. And we can see we do have multiple aging buckets for this individual balance. Nothing really to worry about here unless you start to see that in the 61 and over, 91, 120, 120 and over. But still, we still have some money to go collect here. All right, get the sales analysis by year. Use multiple years if we want. I'm going to look at just one year here. Okay, we could look at all of the years, but it gets a little crowded then. Let's look at 2020. And we can look at the revenue by customer, revenue by month, and revenue by country. And these particular categories here, we can change any of these categories. Say revenue by state, or revenue by donor, revenue by municipality, by salesperson. However you categorize your data, we can flip this to pull that data point. So they're easily adjustable. So I could click on that customer and see what revenue that customer is responsible for, and in what months, and what state that customer was. I can click on another one. He's about the same because of the same amount of sales. Boom. Or I could come at it another way. So I could run a report by revenue by customer, and it would give me this. So, but if I want to see that revenue by month by customer, that's another report I have to go run. Instead, here I click here, the revenue by month, and I can see what customers that revenue is attributable to. Or I can do it another way. If I have multiple countries, let's say I have a country up here. Okay. Now you have multiple countries. Instead of having to go run a report to see what I'm selling in the USA, now I can see it. We have two USAs set up because of different subsidiaries. I can see what we're doing in Canada. So that's pretty cool. Then I have some icons on all of the visuals. You see in the right corner, there's icons on all the visuals. So if I wanted to create my own personal dashboard, these are called dashboard reports, by the way. Little terminology here. So this is a dashboard report. From a dashboard report, you can create a dashboard. Something to keep in mind. If they say, well, I have a dashboard, is it a dashboard or is it a dashboard report? Because the dashboard is created from the dashboard report. So you may have some C-level executives in your organization that say, hey, I don't really need to see all of this at a glance on my smartphone or my smart device, but I would like to take a look at my revenue by customer daily for every period, every customer. So he says, can you just let me have a quick dashboard? So you click these pins here, and I'm just going to create a new dashboard called AR. No, excuse me, sales. So it's going to snatch that visual and it's going to create this dashboard. My typing's off. Get that one. And I also want it to add the revenue by month to it. Let's click on it. And I also want to add revenue by country. Okay. Just that easy. And I also want, get out of my way, I also want these key performance indicators. And I'll take that one. See, because not everyone is going to want to see the same things on their smart devices. So now we can go to that dashboard and see what we've created. Here's the phone view, what it would look like on the phone or your tablet. And anytime you would click one of these objects, it will take you to the underlying report from which it came. And this is just a phone view here to show you what it would look like. But if we come on down to the real dashboard that it created also, where's it at? Sales. There it goes. This is the dashboard we just created. Now, like on your smartphone, anytime you click on something, it's going to take you to the underlying report, which is here. Go back to that dashboard. I can move these around and arrange these any way I want. I can edit them and add titles to them and add things to them like the report date. I want to know the last time it was refreshed, so it pops that in there. I want to know the last time all of these were refreshed. That would help me. And there's our refresh times. Now, each time the underlying report is refreshed, all of the reports and dashboards that you have and that have been shared through your organization are all updated in real time. The moment that refresh kicks off, it updates all of the data. You're entitled to 8 refreshes per day of both modules or all modules that you have. So that's pretty good. That's not bad. 8 refreshes a day should do it, unless you're an air traffic controller. Okay, so let's go back into sales real quick. Okay. Okay, we have sales decomposition here. Again, we can filter this report down to what we're interested in the decomposition of. I want to look at this particular item class here. If you have item classes set up, or however you have your data set up, you may not even have products. You may have services. This would be set up by service. And look at the sales for services, or it could be set up by donors so that you could get a breakdown of each donor contribution. Here, I'm looking at sales for this vertical market, multifamily vertical market. No, it's easier, or I can hit all the verticals and then I can just start that way if I want. So click on corporate. It's going to show me the customers' IDs for the people who have invoiced. And it's going to show me the date of the invoices. Happens to be only one invoice in January. There's the invoice number. And then it'll tell me the item that that particular customer purchased. Come down here. Okay. Again, we can do the same for all of them. If I want, I can right click, I can drill through out here. I can drill through in here. Whatever level I'm at is the level I can drill through from. Naturally, if I drill through from here, I'll see less data because it'll start at that point. Whereby if I drill through farther out here, I'll see all of these customer IDs. It's going to pull in everybody. See the different customer IDs. So I mean, it just gives you a way to analyze your data, you know, right from one place, and it's just, I know, it's just great product, great way of looking at things, great way to see your data. Here we have the trend analysis. The trend overall, the 13. Select them all. This is strictly a trend analysis report. Look at your orders, trending of your orders, and equally important, the trending of your returns. because these returns affect the gross margin and the profit margins. Okay, that's how that works. Then you can see the underlying detail. If you click on one, the grid will respond in accordance. Then we'll give you some geographic sales analysis by customer. Again, we filter that any way we want and get a look at each particular customer. So Minnesota, the Grandview Lodge, I can take a look in detail surrounding that 59,000. 5,900, excuse me. Yeah, 5,900. Get my glasses checked. So we can do that, or we can just select it by individual. We could select the entire market and look at all of them. It's going to get a little busy. Okay, it's going to get a little busy now. Just another way of analyzing the data. And we can look at our lost business report. What this tells you is once you filter it down, filter it to KJ territory. This is going to tell me, starting at the territory level or whatever level you use for your categorizations, that this customer purchased this item class, this item number within that class, and this item description in January of 2019 to the tune of $249. So what he did not do, or she did not do, is purchase this product in January of 2020. So that represents lost business. So if I were to go back to the sales analysis report and look for this item, I wouldn't see it in 2020. If I switch the sales to 2019, I would see that item. So it's going to show you your lost business. Select everybody here. All item classes, all customers, all item classes, all months. So now by customer, this customer purchased this product in these months last year, but purchased none of this product in these months this year. He may have purchased them in a month, February. Won't know unless you go look, but we know he definitely didn't purchase it in these months. And you might wonder why. Are they using another vendor? You know, but it's significant to know that we lost $1,800 with that customer right there. And it'll just go on and on and on. That's a big problem there too. Where's he getting that product from? Why is he not buying from us any longer? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's how that works. And you can filter down by month. Or if it's a particular item that you're interested in, say the warranties. Okay. People generally will purchase that warranty, recurring. And you can see here that it's not being sold in these months of the current year. So we have an item product line and item ranking. There's the product line, and here's the products within that, items classes within that product line. Again, these visuals can be swapped out or any categorizations that you use, because some of these aren't going to be applicable to you. So we just swap them out for you at no charge, because we know that every customer is different. But this way, you have your starting point for all data analytics going forward. As your company grows, as your company becomes more profitable, or in the inverse, should your company begin losing money, this will give you a better control over seeing exactly the whole picture, the big picture, instead of trying to run hundreds of reports and then try to make sense of that. That's just impossible to do. Okay, I can see my customer profitability, my sales, cost of goods, my margins, any additional expenses, costs associated with it, and I can get the profit dollars and the profit percentage here. And we can conditionally format this so that it turns a red if it's below a certain profit percentage margin. Here I have it using red. And we have our date slider up here, so we can slide it to the dates we want, or we can key the dates we want in, just like that. Again, break it down by customer. If you want the customer name here, we can put the customer name in there, but it gives you your profitability. We have a new profitability report also that's part of this initial module here. So this is changed as of last week. There's a new key performance indicator called profitability. And when you drill through on that customer, you'll see the profitability percentage margin right next to the gross margin column out here. I've seen it, but it should be released in probably the next day or two. It'll be a profit percentage right here. All right. Again, we have forecasting like we had for the financials and the we had forecasting for the financials and the budgets. So we also have forecasting for your sales. You see that this is very skewed data here. It's going to have difficulty getting a proper forecast with the skewing on this data. Let's just find out. I'll remove August. So now we have up until August. So it's saying in August it's looking for about $2,000. I mean, yeah. So let's put in August and see what it actually was. August it actually was 150. So again, the skewing will affect the algorithms. There's my yearly forecast. Just want to look at a particular customer and forecast of a particular customer, you can do that. I switch that item class. I switch the item class. It knows these are only customers in that item class. Services, it knows these are the only customers in the service item class. Then again, we have additional item analysis. I'm looking at the audio item class or the invoices for July. See them all. Vertical markets. One market here. So I'm just looking at 2016 now. Now, if I want to take all the years here, I can see how that particular, let's go to item class. Let's look at a particular item within this item class. Okay, there's not a lot of sales on that one. I can see this particular item here is trending down significantly. I might want to discontinue that item in inventory. But at least I can see the trend, so I'm in a better position to even make a decision like that. I might need to discount this product. I might need to do whatever I need to do to bring that sales up on that item. Okay. And you've got your unapplied AR. This is outstanding. Accounts receivable that have not been fully posted. Part of the receivable may be posted, but this is the part that's not posted yet. And it will give you all the details. And it'll give you a graphic over here. We can change the color of this graphic. I'm going to use 2019, so it's a better color. But we can change any of the colors on these screens, any of the borders. And when you have the product, you also have all of the code and the full capability to move things around and change things around and do whatever you want to do with it. So look at credit memos, none, debit memos, no, payments. Yep, we have some payments. See, they're going on the negative side. So what we can also do with this data, which I haven't told you yet, is we can export this data to Excel if we want to, just by clicking on the ellipsis. We can make the report bigger by clicking on the box on all of them. We can add an additional filter if we want, or we can actually pin this to our dashboard. You can pin across multiple reports to a dashboard. So you could have a dashboard that has any of these visuals on it. I could just say, okay, export the data to Excel, give me it summarized only, or you can have it detailed. It's going to go ahead and export that. It did it. It wants to put it somewhere. Just drop it on the desktop real quick. All right. I guess it got that. Jump over to desktop real quick, see if I can find it. So busy over here. No, no, which one it is. Yeah, it's here somewhere. Is that it? Let me see. Maybe I didn't do it right. Excel, export. Oh yeah, it's there. Just put it in the wrong place. So I open it up and here's my Excel. And that's the summarized data right there. In case you want to send that over to somebody and analyze, have them analyze it, what have you. Okay, so we'll get back to it. So all of these visuals can be pushed out to Excel if you want. If you have a board of directors or upper level management meetings, you can also take this data and you can create yourself a PowerPoint presentation, which will use all of the data as set in each report. So that report's set like that. The sales analysis is set like that. And when I export this to PowerPoint, it gives me a beautiful presentation of exactly what the data is set at. Now I'm all ready for the meeting. And I don't have to sit up there and put page numbers on pages up on the video that I'm displaying. I have the real analytics right here. That's a pretty cool feature. Another feature is I can share this report now to people within my organization. And there it is. It's going to share it to them, and I can restrict what they can do with this report. They can't share it to anybody, and it'll send them a little email if you want. Oops, I don't want that. What is that? Get rid of that. How do I get rid of it? One moment. Don't even know what that is. Oh well. So yeah, I can send them an email saying, "Hey, the report's ready," and send it. Now it'll share that report and confirm that they successfully shared it. We can also, let's see what else we can do. We can share it in Teams if you have Microsoft Teams. You can do that. Also, if you share the report and that person leaves your organization, you can just remove them. Just remove their access. Now they can no longer see it. So that's the Power BI report pack for financials and sales analysis. I think there's 17 reports here. And in the financials, there are 27 or 28 at last count. I'll give you the pricing on the financials. The financials is $4,500 for the 28 reports, and the sales analysis is $3,500 for the 17 reports. Usually when we have a webinar like this, we'll offer a discount on the modules if we can get a decision done within a week. So a week from today, if you make a purchasing decision, we'll take 25% off that, and we'll remember who you are from this webinar here. I see a couple questions here. I'm going to go ahead and answer those real quick. How long does it take to install the product? An hour to an hour and a half. And is this a one-time fee? Yes, it is a one-time fee. This is not a subscription. So once you buy it, it's yours forever. And one last question here is, what versions of GP does this product work with? It was designed to work with all versions of GP without any changes whatsoever. So that concludes today's, wait a minute. Oh, can this be used for D365 F&O? This product was designed only for Dynamics GP. The D365 Microsoft has made it a little difficult for developers and software developers to get to the database. That's why you'll notice they provide you a few free dashboards, but those aren't the dashboard reports. So you can never really get to the dashboard report that has the data in it, the raw data. So that's something that we've been asking them to give us access to it. And then within that D365, like Business Central, the database schema is different. The database schema is different. It's prefixed by the company name, your company name, period, and whereas GP has no schema in it. There's no schema in front of the table name. So that way it can work with any company's GP data. So Microsoft is kind of tying our hands here with respect to being able to develop this report here for D365. We do have some reports that we developed for D365, but it's on-premise. So getting to the cloud is a whole different animal with Microsoft now. Thank you, Dean. Excellent reports. Yes. Hopefully I'll hear from you all soon here and get you installed and really, when you see your data like this, it will amaze you. You'll find problems with your data that you didn't even know you had. You'll have to do some cleanup more than likely. And it'll just help you all the way around. And for the price, it's a no-brainer. I want to thank everyone, and I look forward to hearing from you shortly. All right. Bye-bye.